Speaking of making things spicy, our next set is going to be Yeesh versus Slappydavis, and that's going to be fun.
Yeah, I think this is one of the matches I was most looking forward to. Not nothing against Slappy, obviously, but Yeesh this last season wasn't able to play in the SEL, and so we haven't had to see Yeesh, who is one of the most prominent players, right, in competitive, super solid across the board, very systematic on the spy side of things, and so it's really fun seeing them return and have this be the tournament that they're returning in.
Yeah, Yeesh definitely very strong. Had an almost perfect season in gold in an SCL 5. I say almost, and it's a little bit of a brag because I ruined it by drawing him in our second match. But yeah, Yeesh definitely an incredibly strong player. A lot of people are scared of him, and Slappydavis has been sort of floating around in platinum and in this season in diamond. Actually, after a few drops, pushed him up into the diamond slot. And coming into the season, a lot of people weren't really expecting too much out of Slappy, but Slappy got third in diamond.
Yeah, and it's really the diamond competition was definitely nothing to cough at. You saw a lot of people kind of climbing up, and finally, it's not just been people who've been promoted up now. It's been people who've been fighting and clawing to get up there. We see people like Warning Track. We see people like Urand and Ponubin, and so diamond was pretty solid this year.
Yeah, diamond definitely. I mean, diamond is never bad players in diamond. It takes a lot of skill to be in diamond at all. So being that high is very, it speaks well of Slappy. Although, admittedly, his score lines in recent seasons, although this one is better, right? This season did better because obviously it got third in the division. Hasn't been as competitively successful. And Yeesh is just before Yeesh left was just on a hot streak. Did not play in SCL 6, unfortunately, but as you mentioned, but is coming back for this one. And Yeesh is just really quite strong. He's thought of quite highly, and had he stayed in platinum for this season, a lot of people thought he was going to take first in platinum. And this season's platinum was brutal. So
absolutely, yeah, that would have been just an extra extra person in the madness.
Yeah, so that should give you a little bit of a good idea of how highly Yeesh is thought of. So even against someone who played in Diamond this season, even against Slappydavis, I think that Yeesh does sort of come in as sort of the expected winner, but we'll see how this set progresses as we get into our draft. So as we go into our banning phase, Yeesh is going to ban Veranda, while Slappy bans Aquarium. Yeesh banning Veranda makes sense. He just doesn't like playing the venue. It's one of his more common bans in SCL when he was active. And Slappy banning Aquarium, I'm not sure exactly why. I think just doesn't want to deal with perhaps any of the tech that could result there. As far as the restrictions go, Yeesh is going to restrict Balcony, which actually does make sense. Doesn't really want to play this swingy venue in maybe a matchup he feels that he's a bit of a favorite in. And Balcony, as always, skill plays into it, but more than most venues, sort of anything can happen. And just wants to be able to have more consistent stuff that he can lock down, right? And Slappy going to do a fair approximation of the same thing, restricting Taeyeon.
Yeah, and I think what we're kind of seeing from Slappy here is that I think Slappy just wants to play SpyParty, right? Doesn't want to have to worry about all these different things interfering with Vision. Just wants to keep things, simple, keep things how they like playing the game, possibly. And so that's what we're seeing here with these bans and restricts.
And as we get into it, Yeesh is going to double gallery, which is just, of course, what Yeesh would do when you leave it open for him. This is his favorite venue, and he is very, very good at it. So not surprised at all to see Yeesh playing gallery this set.
Yeah, and it's gonna be really good to see. I think what everybody's kind of hoping for, or not maybe hoping for, but we're wanting to see how Yeesh can fare, right? It's been a little bit of a break. There's definitely going to be some rust. So how quick can they kick it off? And it's just everybody loves watching Yeesh play. And so Slappydavis here, it's going to be a really good set.
Yeah, and so next one is going to be Slappy doubling Redwoods, and after banning Aquarium and decides, you know what, that third occlusion venue, that one's the one.
That is the one.
And Redwoods Redwoods definitely makes a lot of snipers uncomfortable, and especially since Yeesh has not played in a while. You know, Yeesh has played on Redwoods, right? It's been out since he's last played actively, and in fact was debuted at PAX last year.
Yeah.
That he attended. So he is one of the beta testers for Redwoods indeed. So it's not like he hasn't played on it, but definitely has way less experience on Redwoods perhaps than other venues.
Yeah. And when it comes to Redwood's trees, Yeesh is normally the person I like to blame because Yeesh is one of the first people to play it and found some really good aim for the sniper to hold. And then so we got more we've got more trees, but you know who doesn't want more trees, right?
The sniper usually.
Yeah.
But then for the single picks, Yeesh is going to select Ballroom, any 4 of 8. Love the 4 of 8s. 4 of 8s generally are tend to be the most interesting to me, at least. Very, very a lot of opportunities on the spy side, and good play from the sniper, good counterplay from the sniper. Slappy gonna follow the same trend. We have an all 4 of 8 set, folks. It's gonna be modern, any 4 of 8 for the last pick in the set, and I do quite like this draft.
Yeah, I think it's definitely interesting. I think if we look at Slappies, I think Redwoods and Modern are very contradicting picks in a sense that I think Modern is normally one that you're just trying to probably lock down the sniper side of things, and Redwoods is kind of more of like you're not necessarily flipping a coin, but maybe you can go for some different type of plays here to maybe give yourself a little bit of an advantage. And I just think I look at Yeesh's and I feel like some people might argue about Gallery, but this is a pretty fair set of venues over there on that side.
Yeah, for sure. Now, to get into it though, Yeesh is going to start us off on the spy side of Gallery. Slappydavis on the sniper. We'll see how Slappy fares against this Yeesh spy in 3, 2, 1. Playing it.
Yeah, and this is where we're going to have to see all of it kind of come together here, right? Just to see how Yeesh is going to be able to play. And starting on the spy side, I kind of like that, right? I kind of like to get things going on the spy side myself, if I ever actually do get things going. Because it's just nice if you can get a spy win at the very start of the game.
Yeah. There are a lot of reasons people like to start on spy or on sniper, depending. Like some people like to have the comfort of already having won their sniper game going into a spy game. So like if it's like if I lose this spy game, it's not that big of a deal. We're still even, right? Personally, I actually enjoy starting on the spy side nowadays because it lets me get into the groove of playing the game before I have to go in and focus and snipe. But there are a lot of reasons, and it's very personal, honestly, what side you like to start on. In this case, Yeesh on the spy to start, 32% on the first flirt. We are going to go into this blue bookcase. Not exactly sure what for. Perhaps we're going to go for this microphone. Our arm is inside the wall here a bit, which would be that timing. Would be the spacing you want for the blue bookcase when you're doing action 6 microphone. But instead, we're just going to take this out.
Yeah, and so maybe we're just trying to play this innocent. We might honestly be coming out here probably to get our second flirt done, because that's the one thing about Gallery, and I like seeing that Yeesh is doing this, that if you don't get your seduction done and you have to end up chasing it, it can be a real problem later on.
Yeah, absolutely. But Yeesh is a veteran of Gallery. He knows better than to let the flirt get away from him. 66% means that one more close white will indeed do it. We're actually not going to do this contact. It was right here. It was a pretty good contact. Instead, we're going to step out here on these window pads and do a microfilm. It's a green test, which is good.
Wow.
Because Slappy zoomed out right as we were doing, right at the end of the animation.
Yeah, that was super close.
Yeah. Because the ambassador was coming outside, which means that Slappy was incentivized to zoom out where he wasn't before. So the fact that we got that green test, it means that the animation played much quicker. That is the biggest benefit of having a green test. There's much less time for them to catch it. If that had been a white test, I feel like we probably would have been dead.
Yeah, just because the animation would have been a little bit longer, but it's good on Yeesh's part to know that, hey, probably zoomed in watching Amba come out here, so if I'm gonna have a chance at doing this, now is the time.
Yeah, it was cutting it a little bit close there, but now we have progress, but it's sort of slow progress, if I'm being honest. We still need that one last flirt. I said that Yeesh is a veteran of Gallery and doesn't let this get away from him, but it has sort of gotten away from him. Microfilm on gallery, especially when you're taking it outside like that, takes a long amount of time. So it's going to it's going to be really difficult. Fingerprint failed on the statue. I think this might be why we were here, to try to grab that difficult fingerprint, which is sort of interesting because it's a very eclectic group of missions. You've got progress on 4 different things if you hit that fingerprint. It's just. Ooh, that's unfortunate. And we do finally join the conversation. It doesn't look like Slappy noticed.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, I guess we hope somebody gets shot here.
Yeah, well, look at the safety off onto Irish, and we actually didn't take any lowlights from Slappy here. So I'm really surprised that we didn't take any lowlights for the contact. And oh my goodness, here comes a shot. Looks like we shot General for a potential bug on the path through Ambassador, walking back there. And we shoot right as Yeesh is about to try to take the bug. Even.
Yeah, my heart would be racing, because even if I'm Yeesh here, I'm still thinking that maybe the laser's kind of focusing on me a little bit, especially with how close it was to General's head. But we actually cover with our own body. We cover the General's arm snapback. So definitely probably not intentional, but it definitely works out in Yeesh's favor.
Yeah, for sure. And one of the biggest things about this, General was out for contact. The fact that we didn't take those lowlights is really big. Yeah, Slappy was too focused on the suspects in conversation and didn't take those lowlights and is absolutely burned for it. General should have been a lowlight, but is instead the shot, and it's wrong. And Yeesh now up 1-0, going into Sniper on his favorite venue against Slappydavis in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, and so honestly, things looking pretty good for Yeesh. We got to see, there was a little bit of trouble with pacing, and again, just because I feel like the missions we chose to do, they take so long to do, right? Especially if you're bringing the book out here. But one thing I do like about Gallery is this is not another one of those venues where, if you get away with something, you could very easily win on Spy side here.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Slappy Gallery, I'm just a little bit concerned, right? Because Slappy already has some pacing issues, and Gallery is definitely a venue that you're going to have pacing issues, but we're not going to have pacing issues if we go for a bug, but the Ambassador moves and the arm going back to its normal animation. The return, the bug is seen. Ouch. So that bug is much better as long as the Ambassador doesn't move, because you actually have Queen protecting, you have the Ambassador's big body. Slappy started it pretty early, so the animation would be done by the time he got through the Ambassador and showing it to the Sniper. The problem is, Ambassador had been standing on that pad for quite a while already. By the time Slappy took this decision, there was not much time until the Ambassador moved. And unfortunately for Slappy, Yeesh is not going to let you get away with a bug like that waving in his face.
Yeah, and as I say, it's just one of those things too. It's like if you see your seduction target sitting at a pad or at windows, you have to know how long they're there if you're going to even try to waste time going for it, because there's going to be a good chance they're going to leave. And so Slappy just misreading it a little bit and gets punished for it.
Yeah, and it is a little bit encouraging to see Slappy going for missions that aren't just flirt for the first 3 minutes of the game.
Team do stuff.
That is unfortunately not the way you want to perform it, though. Yeesh now back onto the Spy side, up 2-0 already in the set. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, so we'll have to see if Yeesh does anything different here. It goes for a very similar kind of game plan, because honestly, we didn't even get to do probably what we were hoping to do, and so might as well just run it back and maybe do something similar.
Yeah, I mean, I think perhaps he's going to notice that, hey, that last game was really questionably paced, and not do exactly the same thing, but. I would not be surprised to see Fingerprints make an appearance, maybe go for that microfilm again. But one of the biggest things I think of when I see anyone playing Kane on Gallery is the bug. Kane's bug on Gallery is quite strong, because if you're standing on one of these painting pads, every other character but we actually go for the
Stick it.
That's also a bug.
I love that we stayed on the pad here.
Yeah, we're not actually on a pad, but the Sniper can't see these pads, and we do look like we're in the correct spot. So Yeesh being calm, not trying to stutter onto the real pad, because that would just be more noticeable. Um, so very nicely played from Yeesh there. So that bug also is helped by the fact that our arm does not snap back to our center when we're in standing, like that. So that bug also is definitely a kind of Papa Danger Kane bug that you usually
Yes.
don't see successfully done from other from other characters. So very nicely done from Yeesh there. Get that bug. Now we're gonna go in for the statue. It's fingerprintable.
Yeah, and what I kind of really liked from Yeesh is that
Oh, swap even. We're going for a
w-
swap. That's we even break
what?
animation a little bit. That's not exactly what you want to see. I just This is so weird. I feel like you really don't want to be swapping here from Yeesh. Unless this statue is fingerprintable, but it's not. He's just trying to block the swap on the statue that he did. I feel like there has to be action priorities or something, because normally you really wouldn't want to be swapping here because you've already got the bug. You could just go for a silent game with fingerprint, inspect, seduce. That would be very, very strong. But here it comes. Here's the moment of truth. We can see that the swap is on screen. Does Slappy notice, and does Slappy know who was there? Those are the two big questions.
Yeah, so definitely not having a pacing issue this game at all. And now we're slowly
Oh,
starting to see Slappy give off some of those lowlights.
yeah, here they come. Low lighting the party. Not quite everyone immediately. Looks like it's down to statue highlights.
Yep.
Slappy was not exactly sure on who was there at that specific statue, but knows it had to be one of their statue highlights. So, you know, just ooh,
I felt that in my bones coming.
yeah.
Oh.
The Tiefling and I both like just see this sniper laser creep over, and we're just like, oh no, Slappy. But Slappy does not take the shot onto that save it, and actually 99% flirt in the
Yeah.
meantime. This is
And I was about to
fingerprintable, by the
say,
way. This is fingerprintable. Ambassador was just here. But now we're only okay. So we only need the last flirt. 99%. If we had the flirt done, we'd already be done. But unfortunately, we need the one last one, and that means there is going to be OT, and we are going to have to talk soon after entering this conversation. So, but does Slappy notice? Is there something else, someone else that he's looking at? It does look to be Wheels that we're looking at. It's gonna be Wheels taking the shot, and yeah, Slappy just not on top of where that swap could have come from. Has to narrow it down to the statue highlights, and having it narrowed down to that is pretty good, but not when you're narrowing it down from a swap.
yeah, and it honestly just looks like we didn't really have any sort of other mission progress for Kane. And maybe there's the fact that we say, hey, we see Kane's been back to back at these same exact statues. They don't have statues done here. I'm not going to shoot them, but
Yeah. So what surprises me the most about getting away with this swap is that we swapped a statue that had a fingerprint on it. So if the sniper is tracking our fingerprint, that means they would have remembered that we were there at that specific statue, right? So I think that a big part of this is that Slappy did not realize that statue had a fingerprint on it, and therefore did not assign any special significance to that particular statue and the fact that we were there, which means it's easier to forget that we were there for swap. And he doesn't have the fingerprints for us in terms of progress, which means that all you've got left is basically seduce, because we already missed the bug earlier in the game, and that's just not enough to be very suspicious. So Yeesh gets away with that game despite the perhaps action priority swap there.
Yeah, and I think we're starting to see here why Yeesh likes to play gallery so much, and maybe why maybe Slappy should have banned out gallery, right? I think it's decent knowledge that Yeesh loves to play some gallery, but it's definitely working out this set for him.
Yeah, now Slappydavis down 3-0 on gallery, needs to find a spy win, but that's going to be so difficult. Yeesh's sniper is absolutely just one of the strongest in the community, honestly. So we'll see if he can find it. But it's on gallery, and as we said, gallery is Yeesh's favorite. We'll see if Slappy can do it, or if he's going to go down and get completely swept on gallery in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, and I guess the mentality you want to be in is like, hey, 3-1's not too bad, and then Redwoods, anything can happen with Redwoods, right? It's another one of those venues where sometimes you have to assume maybe something happened beyond the scenes that you couldn't see. But again, a really good sniper can have pretty much everything locked down on Redwoods.
Yeah, Redwoods, you just have to be a lot more intentional about where you're angling, right? You can't really see things from out of the corner of your eye as much on Redwoods. So that's I think the thing that a lot of snipers don't like. It forces you to be very very intentional about what you're getting and what information you're looking for. And if you're not efficient about that, it can be very difficult to find the spy. But in this case, we're still on gallery. It's the whole venue is right in front of you. You barely have to move your camera at all.
Yep. And so looking here, it looks like we're just deciding to chase down our flirt as they're leaving here again, which I think that's gonna maybe let's see if we chase. Oh, okay, wow. Never mind. The seduction target lands right back on us, and we couldn't ask for anything more. We have seduction done now.
Yeah, having that flirt done for Slappy is really, I feel, quite important. Although I am worried he's gonna let his pacing get away from him, even with that flirt already done. But because it is just the Slappy play, right? Look at this. We're taking an innocent drink here, trying to figure out what we want our party to be. And slow play up to a point is not that big of a deal, right? You can make late mission progress after other people have become a suspect. So doing this little back and forth on these pads. Although we're actually going outside with a drink, which, by the way, AIs, they don't like doing it, but they will sometimes.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like I always heard that, but then I've started to notice more and more. I think it only took me a couple times of shooting AIs out in front for having the SIFs to realize, it does happen decently enough.
Yeah, it's unlikely, but it is definitely not something that you can shoot for. It's not even necessarily something that you can assign suspicion for, because spies know that AIs are unlikely to do it. So why would they do it? Why would they get noticed? It's very Yomi-esque in
Hmm.
how you want to approach it. Do you want to think that it's unspy-like to take drinks outside? Do you want to think it's spy-like to do it? Right? A lot of people have very different opinions on that. Ooh, ooh, we get hit with a low light.
Wow. And I wonder if we feel that or if we're gonna do anything with it.
Yeah, and this does appear to be for that idling, right? We haven't done anything, and we haven't even really actively flirted, right? Our ST sort of came to us at that pad. This is a fake. It's real for us. So unfortunate a bit that we're not getting that progress, but we do have the green
That is
purloin as
nice.
a low light. Now, Yeesh does put some attention into his lowlights, but I don't know if it's going to be enough, especially when you have so many of these neutral lights that are not suspicious in the back of this competition, and you see Salmon takes it. We're not zoomed on the fade. We don't see that, so it's going to be to see if Yeesh can find a way to hold, and if Slappydavis can finish missions here. I think that it's very strong because you should be watching other guests.
Yeah, and it's just such a good combo being a low light going into a green purloin. I couldn't think of I could think of very few things that feel as good as that, but the
Oh, but the
timer going
problem,
out
yeah,
here.
we're not finishing missions is the issue. Seven
Yeah.
seconds on the clock. We could have gone maybe for an inspect swap at the end of the game. Here comes a contact, but Yeesh knows with a contact that late, there's no extra time. The safety comes up on the twin, but he knows he doesn't have to shoot.
Yeah, and wow, we have 45 seconds extra on the clock here. But Yeesh is just taking care of some low lights, right? Taking care of business, not really itching to shoot anyone quite yet. Just making sure they're keeping missions on the board because at the end of the day, they know it's somebody out in the front here. And is anybody going to be able to finish or do something?
Yeah, I'm really actually quite surprised that we didn't see Yeesh just neutral light everyone in the front. Because this could still be a mission win for Slappy because he's still a low light, right? This didn't get changed despite the time ad. But we are gonna get checked for the swap. But are we gonna get checked for the swap enough? Salmon's pathing by even faster. We're gonna set down the statue. We bring the information, but we're low light. It doesn't matter.
Oh, oh, and I'm so surprised by that. I'm so surprised that we put so much stock into that low light there. And maybe it was just that we forgot what the low light was for. But Slappy gets away with murder there.
Yeah, I'm really, really surprised. Yeesh seemed to be, very suspicious of Salmon. Thought perhaps that Salmon was definitely the one who time added out front here. And despite taking all those low lights from the back of the party when the time ad comes off, just doesn't bring anyone back up, which just seems quite unusual. Because even if you're quite sure on your low lights, you still want to bring them back up just in case. The spy is not about to complete missions, so they have to just do something more. And so just watch any potential suspect who could be doing that, but we don't get brought back up. And that really saves us quite a bit because we actually break a statue animation pretty badly in the winning seconds of that game and don't die for it.
Yeah, and so that Slappy needed that, regardless of how we got here. Slappy needed that win, going down 3-1 in gallery. But again, this is the venue we've been talking about. Yeesh, one of the first people to play this, but hasn't. This is about when this venue came out was about the time where Yeesh kind of took his foot off the gas pedal a little bit, stopped playing SpyParty as much, and so maybe doesn't have as much experience. And I don't know if Slappy's even been playing it that much. So this could be a very interesting battle between these two here.
Yeah, I mean, Yeesh definitely has the experience, but I think I think maybe a bit of rust there concerning those low lights.
Yeah.
I don't think that this is something that you'd see normally out of Yeesh if he were really on the ball and like in practice, right? So Yeesh still up 3-1. Like mind you, that game was that game was kind of lost by Yeesh, and then Slappy then went in and lost it again, and then Yeesh didn't capitalize on that. So 3-1, it's fine for Yeesh. He's feeling okay, even though that sniper loss was a little bit awkward. He's probably given himself a little bit of a beating for that one, but he's still in a good spot in this set. So we're gonna see how Redwoods goes. This is Slappy's pick in 3, 2, 1. Playing it.
Yeah, and so obviously this venue, for those who have not seen it, it's a little different. If you're looking at it from the sniper side of things, you can tell, it's not a shark blocking the view this time. It's not a shoji, but it's just a bunch of trees, right? Lovely, beautiful trees that have great texture on them. But on the spy side, the main difference is if you look at these statue pads in the front, there's actually some books on them. And if you go to those books, you can actually inspect the statues without even picking up the statues, which is it's really interesting.
Yeah, didn't we see you try that against Iran in this tournament where you stopped by on the pad, got a cheeky inspect, and then just immediately ran away?
Yeah, so you don't actually even have to pick up the statues at the books to do it. It's just a little cheeky thing that Lee Gorf showed me once.
Yeah, well, at 51% on the floor, we did go for a bug earlier. It wasn't really that visible from Slappy's angle, so it's not that big of a deal. Unfortunately, we did not hit it, so 51% is all we have, but 51% turns into a flirt completion really quickly with that very nice second green flirt.
Yeah, and that feels solid. That pretty much gives us the chance here to look at to say, who else is completing missions here? Who else is acting a little bit suspicious? Who do I want to keep in for a contact and even make some progress on some of those missions themselves?
Contact comes off like we saw in the Lazy Bear set. DA splits from our conversation, but it's a little bit less likely that you're going to see highlighting for reals on Redwoods, just because it's already hard enough to get the information sometimes on who was out for the contact, so a little bit less commonly seen. And in this case, of course, there was also the other conversation that had an SDA in it.
I was going to say, we've seen that quite a few times today, of where the DA split just in time for it to take, and also in other cases, is getting the BB split and not having it work out for us, but...
All right, we pick up the delegate option as you do. It's the exact same as an innocent drink take, but you just have the option to send someone off to take that purloin for you, and there's no reason not to take it, really. We always say that there's no reason not to take the delegate. So.
Yeah, and it's kind of nice right now because we have this option. If we feel like we are running low on time, we can just delegate somebody off and we can do something else. And it looks like we are going to go, no, that was so good. And we send it off to Oprah, who goes and slams the book. And we're going to see this would be a big moment of truth right here. That was a lot of mission progress real fast.
Yeah,
so nasty.
And yeah, there was a lot of movement and activity in the back conversation right there, with already the natural occlusion of the venue plus the amount of party activity happening right then. It'd be really difficult for Slappy to see all this happening, and I don't think this is going to be shot for. Yeah, Yeesh with
so
the sudden rush. Yeesh with the rush out of nowhere, just it's a 1-2 punch, right? Quite literally. Bug, purloin, and the game is over. You needed to react to that list disappearing within 10 seconds, and Slappy was not able to. I'm not even sure if he was even able to see the fact that the list was gone. He didn't really have the angle for it. But Whew, that was quite the game from Yeesh.
Yeah, it was. I really liked it.
Yeah, going up 4-1, and that is the kind of thing you can definitely get away with on Redwoods. Redwoods is lovely for the spy. You have a lot of opportunities for very nice aggressive plays, which I love a lot. We'll see if Slappydavis can respond in kind, or if it's going to be more of that slow, measured play that we've seen from him so far. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, and so we're definitely gonna have to follow suit here. Being down 3 games, every win is gonna be absolutely crucial because we are getting pretty close here to match point.
Yeah, it is what 4-1 currently. So two more games will have us at match point. Yeesh, highlighting for Bar doesn't surprise me. As soon as I saw that 4 at Bar, I was like, look at this. Yeesh is probably gonna highlight for this, even if it's not just for Bar. It could also be for flirt pairing purposes.
Yeah, and I was about to say, dude, it'll be interesting, and we'll be able to tell in the next minute if we're gonna let some of those highlights stick.
Oh boy, none of that methodical play this time. Slappydavis is going straight in for the green swap, and you need to have a way to finish really quickly after this comes off, right? You're going to go in for this flirt, but you still need a couple more missions. The double agent is unfortunately out. This is going to be a fake, which I like in absence of having the real DA. But you still need so much more progress to finish these missions. And of course, the swap has come off. We'll see if Yeesh notices.
Yeah, I'm trying to read the laser. Yeah, I'm trying to read the laser, but
Yeesh is instead interested in neutral lighting all of the bar visitors that happened early on.
wow.
So looks like the swap is actually clean. Just the very unexpected, why would a spy ever do this, right? And I think that works a little bit better on Redwoods than on most venues because because the statues are right there. It's not like you need to actively check them, so you sort of expect to be able to just notice if it's swapped. But if you're not paying attention, you might not notice. And in this case, Yeesh hasn't noticed. That said, that means that we potentially have a timer until he does. That is what you want to beat. You want to be able to get ahead of the fact that he could notice this statue is gone, is swapped at any time, right? So if you, I would really recommend picking up the pace here a little bit from Slappy. Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, I was about to say we could almost maybe even do, finish our flirt here, delegate, and then maybe go to center books if that's the route we want to go. I would like to see maybe a bug instead of going back to statues, just because a bug's so nice once you get it. It's clean. You have a lot of trees blocking for you and a lot of good chances to get one done. So we'll have to see what Slappy pulls out here in the last minute.
Yeah, we do send our ST off to the bar, but it has been a little while here. No purloin gonna come off as it expires. We could go for a contact into finishing up inspects. That might be our best way of finishing right here. We do step away. We're gonna enter the conversation with the double agent. Maybe go for this contact. I would be surprised if we didn't. Oh, but the double agent leaves.
Yeah, the AI has just been kind of brutal to Slappy here in the last 30-40 seconds, with first our seduction target leaving, and now the double agent not even going to another conversation, actually is just going to the back book. So that's going to make it almost impossible for us to get a contact offer to depend on it.
This is cute. Slappy is doing that thing where he's returning the briefcase, but he also got inspects while doing it. Oh, but that bug might have been the mistake that cost us the game. We didn't need to go for that bug. I don't know if we're going to get shot for this, but it does come off.
Oh, that was so sick.
Yeesh
I love that.
was looking for the angle. Yeesh was looking for the angle that entire time, but we very nearly got away with it anyways. He was looking for the angle. He was trying to maybe just get a clear shot on us where he wouldn't have any risk of miss shot. But, and of course you have to make that evaluation of, do I need to shoot for this? Did I see this bug exactly? And he says, yes, I did see this bug, and you're going to get shot for it. Wow. That could have been really interesting because the ambassador did leave a fingerprint on these green books. We could have just returned this briefcase and gone for the green book. The problem with that is, of course, is that means that the sneaky inspects that we got while holding the briefcase would not have mattered. So
yeah, I love that. Like, this is if I was Slappy and if I would have won the spy game, I think I would have been happy for a long time. I would lose the set 1-7 if this was the one game I won. I would be happy with the set. It's just so cool doing something like that. And again, it's not necessarily pioneering different things, but giving different ideas and being really creative on the fly. I think really testing like this is why Slappy is Diamond. The fact that the DA splits, our seduction target left, and this is the idea that we came up with finishing missions is really cool to see.
Yeah, Slappy is definitely a very creative late game planner. It's just sort of the pacing in the rest of the game that can sort of hold him back sometimes. But unfortunately, it's not enough in this set. And Slappydavis is now down, I believe, 5-1 going into the second half of Redwoods. This could be a really decisive set.
Yeah, and because it's basically it's one more until one more at this point. Any game we lose puts it onto match point, which again is just adding more pressure to the situation. So if we can get anything rolling here for Slappy, it'd be amazing.
All right, we'll see if it can happen. Yeesh on the spy side, playing as Duke, I think, for the second time in a row. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, and that's something that I'm always interested by. I was like, how many people, choose their cast members, who chooses their spy. I pretty much religiously always choose pretty much everything. But I know there's other people out there that like to just random and keep, people on their toes and not develop habits of like playing the same people over and over again.
Yeah, I think most people fall into the whole random +1 thing, like random unless I get this character,
Exactly.
that kind of little mentality. So they select for characters they like more, and so you'll still see some tendencies, but they're usually not strong enough to really put much stock into.
And yeah, from how we've been seeing things, I'm definitely not expecting a timeout here. I'm definitely expecting for some mission progress, and I don't know if we're gonna go for a delegate again. Again, it seemed to work last time, but I don't know if that was just because of the chaos in the moment there. But oh, we do another delegate here, and we do this one much earlier in the set.
Yeah, early delegates are really interesting, right? If the sniper is on top of it, you've just narrowed down the party a lot early in the game. That could be absolutely huge. But here, Yeesh is going for this fake contact, although it is real for Slappy, to cover up the fact that the list is now gone. The question is, does Slappy realize it, and how late does he realize it? Green test on the flirt. We've seen so many of these. 2 flirt from Yeesh. The pacing is so nice. We're going to be going for this green test microfilm. All the green test, it would seem, from Yeesh. I don't think he's hit a white test yet this game. We also had the green on the contact earlier. But with the blue microfilm in pocket, I would not be surprised to see a real contact into a purloin, not a purloin, a microfilm finish. But instead, we're going out to these statues.
Oh, so it looks like what we're gonna do is we're probably gonna pick. Never mind. We're just gonna swap the front here, right? What I was gonna say was pick up an inspect here, finish inspect that books, and finish the micro. But Yeesh has different plans.
Either that, or it was some action priority shenanigans. One of the two here, but. No, it wasn't a white test, so we do have some time before the swap is on the board. But we still need that progress. We still need that last mission. We could go for a bug. The ambassador sort of getting stuck at book. The ambassador is going to stick at bookshelves for a little while here. The swap is seen, but it's not remembered the fact that we were there beforehand. The shot comes off onto the swapper.
Yeah, and this is interesting as well, because this is where we pick up the highlight, right? We don't pick up the highlight for the purloin. I'm pretty sure we pick up the highlight for being at that statue. And I wasn't looking from sniper side, so I'm not even sure if the fade was directly on screen. But that's definitely something you kind of hope, comes down to 2 people. But at the end of the day, you see there's a delegate done, the purloin's gone, you heard a contact, you're assuming seduce, you see this swap, and you probably feel like you have to shoot someone there.
Yeah, and actually, I'm not even sure that the purloin was ever seen. We only ever had 3 lowlights in this party, and all of them, I think, were from contact. So I just think that the Slappy never checked on it, because Teal was also never at bar. So I think that contact did an even better job of covering up that purloin than you might expect from Yeesh. So Slappy was just really, unfortunately, quite behind that game. Left the purloin for too long. Didn't remember that he would have it narrowed down to 2. Just a lot going wrong in that game for Slappy, and it is now match point. 1 game left of Redwoods, and Yeesh needs to snipe it out for the win.
Yeah, and I mean, this is scary because I don't know, like I wouldn't want to play against Yeesh's spy right now, and I wouldn't want to play against Yeesh's sniper here. So things are looking pretty grim for Slappy, but 1 game at a time. We're gonna have to see what happens.
Yeah. Slappydavis on the spy side of Redwoods, perhaps for the final time in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
The final time ever for Slappy. Slappy's gonna ban Redwoods out of this.
I doubt that happens. He's too big a fan of the venue. Um, but yeah. For the last time this set, at any rate, it's
Yeah.
34% early on the flirt. You always want to be hitting the greens, but 34%, it's fine. You know, it's the normal, right?
Yeah, and it's not too bad. I think it's all about, what you're going to do in between these flirts. Because I feel like, the green's kind of the go ahead of like, okay, let's chill. Maybe we can wait and hit that second one. But if you hit a white, you feel like you have to kind of maybe pace some things in between the flirts.
Yeah, we're going to go for this briefcase here that's just sitting on the ground. We're actually going to go for a contact with the briefcase, but the double agent leaves us. Oh, that's so unfortunate. And we are sort of seeing setting down the briefcase, but we just got no good progress on that. And we did not even get the low light that we were going for.
Yeah, and so we don't get that, but at least, we do get a fingerprint, and at least we didn't get like a highlight. Something like that can also look maybe pretty suspicious with things, but depending on the person that you're playing, of course, but at least we did get some mission progress in between our flirts there.
Yeah, that we did. So 64% with a fingerprint, with 4 lowlights. 4 lowlights is maybe a little bit high for this point in the game and this amount of progress, but I think it's definitely workable. Slappy's not in a lost position yet. This is, we haven't accumulated too much suspicion, and we are just fine here. We are going to step in for what should hopefully be our last for, but it could be a white test, and that would only be a 98%. Oh no, I cursed it.
I mean, that just kind of happens, and honestly, hopefully, it won't be too big of a deal to go into a conversation. And maybe right now, oh, never mind. I was gonna say we can maybe finish our flirt here, grab up the actual real contact, but our seduction target is not having it. Is a man on a mission here to pick up another. I think that's their second fingerprint, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, if it is twin second fingerprint, that could be really, really important for Slappy to know. Perhaps go for a delegate frame onto twin here. That would be very, very interesting, especially as they are ST. So when your ST is being active, what it usually means is that you know what they've done, and the sniper knows what they've done. That makes them all the more appealing as a potential frame target. We are going to get our own delegate option here. We're still going to need perhaps one more fingerprint and the contact, I think, along with this delegate to finish missions would be, I think, one of the ways you do this. The most natural ways. We do miss this pad a little bit, but luckily Yeesh was zoomed in somewhere else.
Yeah, and again, saved by the trees, right? And it's on other venues that can be death, but Slappy fixes it quick enough. Hopefully, Yeesh doesn't think twice of it there.
Here can we come for? Oh, come on! Really?
I like being on this side of things a lot more than when it actually happens to me in a game.
Oh, and we're actually going to delegate off to twin. We weren't actually close enough to twin. This is the correct target. This is what we mentioned earlier, right? With the delegate option, but unfortunately, this just isn't gonna be the end of the game. There's gonna be no overtime. And it looks like Yeesh wasn't exactly sure on who he was going to be shooting. It looked like maybe Twin would have taken that shot right at the end there if there had been overtime, but unfortunately, there just wasn't. We didn't have the contact despite 2 attempts, with both times the double agent bailing on us. That could have been the spy win Slappy needed to get back in the set, but instead, the double agent bailing, just evil.
Yeah, and that's one where I almost don't blame Slappy at all there, because I think we had like 2 pretty okay outcomes of the game finishing there, right? If that contact comes off, you know what? Then we're finishing at statues here, right? We're finishing, that's another mission right there. But with how things played out, and especially since there's no OT beeps, I don't think Yeesh is going to shoot anyone in the moment there.
Yeah, knows he can wait for that OT and correctly holds, but man, that double agent really screwed Slappy over, and unfortunately that does mean that it is going to be the end of the set. Yeesh takes it 7-1 in a quite commanding fashion. However, there were a couple moments in that set where I think it was closer than the scoreline seemed, and this is definitely one of them. So a bit unfortunate for Slappy there, but Yeesh definitely showing off his skill and moving on into the next round of the SpyParty PAX Invitational. And with that, That means we are completely done casting all of round 1, and we will be moving into round 2 on the next stream, which will be, I believe, on Thursday. Was it?
Yeah, I think it's going to be on Thursday, and I think we're also going to be trying to do a lot of these games live if possible. So not replays, trying to have it be live, so we can get the action to you as fast as possible.
Yeah, for sure. Live matches are always very exciting. So we'll be back on Thursday at 5 p.m. EDT or 2 p.m. PDT. Just convert into your local time zone. I can tell you that Europe, that's going to be around 10 or 11 o'clock usually. But so let's take a little bit of a peek at the matchups though. Before we go. We sign off for the cast, because we've got some very, very interesting matchups already. It's only round 2, but oh man, are these matchups exciting, because we've invited a lot of really good players. And and of course, who would I be if I didn't mention that 2 of the people in round 2 are both me and my beautiful co-caster T-Flame.
Yeah, I think one of us might be feeling a little bit more confident in their next game than the other. But either way, I think the next round, just looking at it from top to bottom, we have Lazy Bear versus Legorv. All right, I think this is gonna be really exciting, because we see Lazy Bear in a lot of tournaments, but we don't really necessarily see Legorv in a lot of tournaments outside of the SCL. So it's always really fun when you get to see Legorv in a competitive setting. Going past that is something, probably a match you could speak a little bit more on.
Yeah, myself versus Rio. It's been a match that's been played quite a few times, actually. I think that Rio is currently ahead of me 3-1 in match wins. Has had my number a little bit recently. Shake my fist at AIs who complete on Modern. It's dumb. Don't. Yeah, forever salty is what I'm saying. But this is of course my opportunity to show once and for all that I am the superior. No,
All right.
Rio is definitely a very strong player, and it's gonna be a fun matchup. It's always a fun matchup. Then we've got Rav versus Pwn Noob. Pwn Noob, of course, playing in Diamond this past season of SCL, and Rav playing a new this season actually in SCL, right? And did very, very well. Has impressed a lot of people and got into the second round by beating Povkey 7-1, which is just something you really don't get to feel very often.
It's nasty.
And for our last matchup, of course, we have you versus Yeesh, who we just saw mop up with Slappydavis. How do you feel about that one?
Well, I was thinking, so I've picked Redwoods the last 2 times. And the last 2 times I've picked Redwoods, I lost Redwoods. And then I just saw Yeesh play Redwoods. So, I mean, I don't know what I'm going to pick. Redwoods, right? Yeah, we're going to be seeing lots of Redwoods, all right? But I'm excited for the match. It's always really fun, especially, again, that's what I like about these tournaments is, you know, it's slowly getting better, but you get to play against a bunch of different type of play styles, some different people that you normally don't play in the SCL season. And so for me to have a chance to play Yeesh, you know, it's always something that, you know, I'm excited, looking forward to.